So how far does this global ambition extend? I think it's natural for us here in the U.S. to wonder, of course, whether China seeks to supplant us as the #1 power in the world. It's particularly, I think, we're susceptible to that suspicion at a moment when we look at our own political process in Washington, where I live, and we're struck by the paralysis there and the sense that it's very hard to get anything done. But I think there are also reasons to believe that for all of China's new strength in many ways, that it is not in the position, and it doesn't see itself as catapulting past the United States overnight to challenge the fundamental balance of power. Chinese leaders today recognize that it is fundamentally a developing country, and there are costs to being the world's preeminent power. For instance, there are costs associated with global peacekeeping. People expect you to step in when there are crises, whether it's the Ebola crisis in West Africa or the rise of ISIS in the Middle East. And there are other costs associated with being the preeminent power. Policing global sea lanes, for instance, which are so vital to China's economy, or ultimately the ability to ensure that there is peace when places like the Middle East erupt. If you want to, just in sort of sheer comparison terms, China today has 1 aircraft carrier. The United States has about 12. And even though China's military is growing fast, its annual spending is still only a fraction of ours in the United States. So instead of imagining that China sees itself hurtling past the U.S. overnight, it's better to imagine that China sees itself returning to its position as a great power in a multipolar world, where there is no longer one single dominant power. So if that, in the end, is China's dream, if that's really what the Xi Jinping and his government believes the Chinese dream is, the question I think we should be asking if we want to understand what's going on is, to what degree do his people share the same dream? And to answer that, we need to understand a bit more about the aspirations of 1.4 billion Chinese people, a force that is, I would argue, both a source of the greatest strength and also perhaps China's greatest uncertainty in the years ahead. I think it's useful.